I'm really excited to be here, ladies and gentlemen, on Legacy. I was actually here at Legacy 2016, and now we are here, Legacy 2020. I'm excited to be back. Last time I was presenting the Legacy, you probably weren't there, but listen, I was talking about DJ Khaled, but I'm gonna get a lot more serious today. I'm gonna be talking about something that most organizations, most large incumbents haven't really figured out yet. And I'm going to tell you today, and that is that the next wave of innovation is not technological, but it is cultural. And the creators and the entrepreneurs that figure this out will be the ones that will win in the future. Now, let me give you some examples, and I want to ask you one simple question. What was the biggest song hit, music hit in 2019? Put it in the chat. I'm going to go to my producer, Mazen. Mazen, what do you think was the big? What do you think was the big song in 2019?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of songs. There was like Juice by, forget her name. There was Juice by Lizzo. There was Meg Thee Stallion. A lot of good people.
Hot Girl Summer.
Hot Girl Summer.
Any in the chat? Any in the chat?
In the chat. Yes. Oh, we have one person that said Old Town Road. Let's see what else.
Well, let me just stop right there, because that's what it is. It was Old Town Road. And listen, the reason why I'm bringing this up is you have Lil Nas X with Old Town Road, which was the longest running #1 hit in the history of the Billboard 100. Literally, this guy was a kid in Atlanta sitting on his sister's couch all the way to becoming a juggernaut in 2019. How did he do this? No middleman, no agents, no managers, little to no infrastructure. He basically bought a beat off a beat site where they crowdsource beats. He bought it for less than $30. He was able to use TikTok and generate a ton of momentum through social media. And this guy was a massive hit with no infrastructure. Like, what is happening? You have another person named Jessica Yellen. She's a one-woman newsroom on Instagram. She basically uses Instagram as a way of sharing news articles and content, and she does it in a very authentic way. She's created a Patreon. Again, no middlemen, little to no infrastructure. What is happening? Today, you have journalists leaving established organizations to go on their own. They're joining something like Substack, a newsletter subscription platform where they're betting on themselves. Again, no infrastructure required. You have people like Joe Rogan that are joining Spotify, licensing his content to Spotify, literally putting a dent into Spotify's stock share, like going up a couple billion after that announcement. What is happening? You have people like Huda Kattan building a beauty empire, from a vlogger to a $1.2 billion empire. Like, what is happening here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, the balance of power is shifting from organizations to individuals. Today, the individual is now the most powerful entity on the planet. You know, Jay-Z once said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." You know, today, ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what's happening. Individuals today in 2020 are more powerful than a 100-person organization in the 1990s. You know, individuals are not only media companies and e-commerce companies, but they're also legitimate businesses. I mean, here's the whole thing. We have scoffed at people back in the day that spent all their times in their garage building computers. And then we scoffed at all these people on the internet in their basement. And today, we scoff at people that are doing gaming and Twitch and building podcasts and video content. And here's the whole thing. If you want to predict what the next wave of innovation is, look at the people that are underground, they're doing things in their basement. That's what you'll find with the next wave of innovation. And let me tell you how we actually got here. What actually happened? Well, the idea of scale has fundamentally changed, ladies and gentlemen. You know, back in the day, in the 17th century, if you wanted to be an amazing baker, for example, let's say you had a baker named Charlotte, and she wanted to send her cakes. Well, the way that she would do it in the 17th century is make some amazing cakes and then sell to a very organic audience that was around her. That's how she would do it. Now, enter her into the Industrial Revolution, and somebody would come to Charlotte and say, "Hey, listen, Charlotte, we can scale what you're doing in an industrial way. We can get you a warehouse, we can get you an assembly line, we can mass produce this cake and put it in stores." This was the industrial way of looking at scale. Well, of course, today, what many people do, if they want to create a bakery, they say, well, let me create these cakes, put it on Instagram, build an organic following, put it on Shopify, and sell it out globally. It's actually very similar to what we did in the 17th century, but the idea of scale has changed. Now you can actually build a small community That's global. And now that you don't even have to even monetize off the cake, you can actually monetize off eyeballs as well. The rules of scale have really changed. And part of the reason why this has been the case is because the future of technology is now really no code. Technology is becoming a commodity, and you don't need to be a coder anymore to access some of the best technology out there. So what are the possibilities around this sort of creator revolution, this cultural revolution that's happening? Well, I really believe that individuals, students like yourself, should be building your own cultural capital. Let me explain what cultural capital is. Cultural capital is your ability for you to influence others, to build an organic community for you so that you can actually unlock resources in order to make more of your ideas happen. That's what cultural capital is, and it's like a muscle that you build over time. And to me, it is the ultimate flywheel creator. What does that mean? The more that you can build a loyal and organic audience and create your ideas, the more you can unlock your resources around you. So let me give you an example of this. Here's a company that I don't admire, but you have to respect their business model. The company is called Barstool Sports. Barstool started by a guy named Dave Portnoy in Boston. It was a media publication. He was able to build a brand around Barstool, hire some really great talent, expand to other industries. Now, not only are they in media and in sports, but they're in food, and they've now gone into betting and into crypto. They're literally, by creating a very loyal audience, and their loyal audience is bros, they've been able to extend their footprint across different industries. This is the whole idea of cultural capital. Now, why is this different? Well, back in the day, not even too long ago, like a couple of years ago, in order to expand to different industries, you needed technological prowess. Companies like Amazon and Google and Facebook and Uber and Alibaba, they had technology and they had distribution. They're already in your phone, so that means that they could really expand to other industries. But now, just by having an organic, loyal audience, you can also do the same. You can also expand to other industries and build your own cultural capital, and that is the greatest way of actually building financial capital. So why is this so important today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally entering into this offline and online world. Like every product or service that you can think of is now online and offline, from healthcare to education to commerce to like dating. Everything is online and offline. And what we're starting to see is the lines between media and commerce are blurring. And the individuals that are good at both will be the ones that will win in the future. And so what can you do? You know, you're at the conference, you're in Legacy, you're like in school, what can I do? Well, very similar to our other speakers today, I really believe that it's doubling down on what you're passionate about, what you're good at, and actually serving and delighting a very small community around you. That's it. Find your passion and serve and delight a very small community around you. And the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, is that boring is becoming increasingly difficult to be. Like, it's increasingly difficult to be boring. And here is the punchline. You know, in university, they're actually training you to be safe and rational and mediocre and boring. That's what they're training you to do. In fact, my parents were trying to train me as well. It's not even school. It's also my parents. My parents, South Asian immigrants, they're like, Shawn, just get a really safe job. And that's the narrative that's in my household, right? Get a really safe job. And in university, they're like, really, get a safe job. Well, I just want you to think more dangerously, come up with dangerous ideas. I'm not actually asking you to build a giant company like Amazon. I'm not actually asking you to become an entrepreneur or join a startup. I'm saying be fantastically good and serve a very small number of people. If you choose to do accounting, amazing. Just be the best damn accountant for that small group of people, for that organic audience, and build it up. That's all I'm saying. Be fantastically good, because the middle is dying. You can no longer be mediocre. Ladies and gentlemen, like, all the technology that you ever needed is now out there. Technology is becoming a commodity. All the talent that you ever wanted is now becoming ubiquitous. All the knowledge that you ever wanted is becoming commoditized. All the ways that you can create content are out there. The infrastructure is already laid out for you. And by the way, all of those things exist in your pocket. They are no longer differentiators. I really believe the things that will differentiate individuals in the future is this ability to create this cultural capital. And that is the fastest way of building financial capital. So I want to thank you so much for your time today at Legacy 2020. And I want to see you in the Q&A. I want to know, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah.
Yes.
One question from, and pardon me if I butcher the spelling or the pronunciation, Melissa, I think. Is business school still worth it?
I love how he's like, pardon if I mispronounce your name, Melissa. Is business school still worth it? Well, listen, most of the people in this chat is in school, is likely in business, and I will say this: I think school is amazing. I think university is amazing for building a network, building connections. It is the best place to get laid as well, because once you're out of school, it's very difficult to get laid. I'm married, I have 2 kids now. It worked out for me, but I'm just saying, I think it's still important to be in school. But now is the time to run, in the sense that building your community, building the people, figuring out what you love and what you like. I still believe in university and in business school, but I think you need to, it goes beyond that. It's not about the content and the curriculum and going to class every day. It's the connections around you. It's like, what are you going to do outside of the content and the school piece? Like, what connections are you going to build? What companies are you going to get involved with? What skills are you going to build? It's really all about that. So my advice to any student out there is stay in school, but expand your horizons, get involved, get connected to people and networks, and try to figure out what you're passionate about. I mean, that is, I think, the gateway drug to really starting to build this cultural capital.
Perfect. We got another question. Both of these are kind of similar.
Sure.
From Grace and Imran. They're basically asking, how do you create brand awareness, or how do you develop a personal brand?
Yeah, I think, it's funny. It's funny that you guys, thank you for that question, Grace and Imran. I actually don't care about brand awareness so much. I actually care about brand loyalty, brand affinity. I don't really think it's about how can I reach the biggest amount of people. I think it's about how can you build the most loyal community of people around you. So I think that's doing things that are non-scalable, like putting in the time and the connection, sharing your thoughts to that very small community, and just figuring out what you are good at and the ways that, the best ways that you can, whether it's develop content, whether it's through podcasts or blogs or writing or video or short form poetry or whatever you find in terms of your superhero skill set. And being good at that, and then just connecting with a small number of people and just like honing in on that community. That's it. I have found for myself, for example, that I actually found myself on the same list as those people that I just talked about, Lil Nas X and Joe Rogan and Jessica Yellen, because I also left a very traditional organization to bet on myself. And the way that I was able to do it was find what I was very good at, which is video and content, and build a very small community around that. So that's what I would say is don't actually focus on brand awareness, but actually more on brand affinity and loyalty.
Yeah, another question, I believe from Andre. What are your thoughts on the podcast landscape? Is it oversaturated, or are there still opportunities out there?
Wow. Well, listen, I think there's always going to be opportunity for those who are different and unique and are creating a differentiated podcast. I believe that podcasts are one of the best ways of creating an organic community. If you look at the technologies around podcasts, the fact that everybody has like these AirBuds and earbuds, I think it's great because now people, it's not just about like how hot are you on Instagram or how big is your butt on Instagram. It's actually about your ideas. It's like long form content. You're listening, you're actually building a relationship with somebody by listening to them every single day. I'm so bullish on this idea of podcasts and just like long form content, because I think that's the best way of actually truly building an organic community. And I think we're just in the first innings of what audio will really look like. So I'm really excited about what the future is. Is it saturated? Of course, every great platform becomes saturated, but it's like, how do you find your own voice in it?
Okay, I believe that is it. I think our time is up.
Fahad, back to you, my man. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I bet the next video is gonna be even better. So hit subscribe and we'll chat in the comments.